Our generation, it seems to be all about fluff now.
What was the first time you heard a Roots song?
The first time I heard the Roots, I was in college at the University of Pennsylvania in the mid '90s, '95, '96. I forget which album was out around that time, but I was in Philadelphia, which is their hometown, and heard plenty of Roots material during that time.
So what was your favorite song back then?
Well, I liked I Shall Proceed and Continue to Rock the Mic. That was one of their early hits. And then later with Things Fall Apart, that was a really great album. And they've had a lot of great music throughout.
What is it for you that makes their music special, especially back then?
Well, I think it's really smart music. The lyrics are really interesting and really well delivered by Black Thought. And then, you know, Questlove is such a great musician and a great producer. And they've been able to make some really poignant, artistic, interesting hip-hop albums.
As for you, when did you actually meet them? Can you?
The first time I met Questlove was actually way back in 2000, I believe. I was a new artist that was trying to get a record deal. I used to go to open mic nights in Philadelphia and see the Roots playing and see all these different artists come through, and I would participate in some of the jam sessions. And one day I saw Questlove walking out of the venue, and I said, you know, hey, I got this CD I want you to listen to. I gave it to him. He never listened to it, but that was my first time meeting him. He doesn't remember that.
Okay. And when did you think about, well, working with them? When did you actually speak to each other about it, doing this album?
Well, we spoke about working together in 2008. As soon as I had the idea with my manager, we decided to call the Roots and see if they were interested in doing it. And they said yeah. And so we started working on it right away in the summer of 2008.
And what's for you, how many songs were picked for the first draft, maybe to see what you could do?
Well, we probably listed about 25 or so that we were considering, and then we listened to them more and decided which ones we would really record.
Is there one song that you say, well, maybe we should have put it on this album?
No, because if we've had 2 years to think about it, so if there was something that we thought should have been on there, it would have been on there.
Is it for you, it's been 2 years. You say this captures the time, but maybe it did more 2 years ago. Don't you agree? Or?
No, actually I think it captures it more now. Because if you look at what's going on in America right now, people are very frustrated. There's a lot of tension, racial tension, economic tension. There's a lot of discussion about the future of the country. And a lot of people that need to be awakened by this album. So I think it's even more relevant now than it was in 2008.
Well, you did campaign for Obama.
Yes.
2 years. He's been now in office. What do you think has happened now with America?
Well, I think because so many people are still unemployed, and that's not something that can be fixed overnight. The poverty level is very high. Again, that's not something that can be fixed overnight. These are results of years of bad policy. And because of that, people are frustrated. And they're taking it out on the person who's in charge right now, even though he's not responsible for the policies that got us there. So it's interesting watching the dynamic of people's frustration and people saying they want change again. But it's kind of illogical because the change they're seeking actually just takes us back to the people who were in charge that got us into the recession in the first place.
What do you think now, one change that Obama did start will pay off within a few years? What do you think is what he's doing right now?
I think healthcare legislation that they passed is very important. We're one of the few countries in the world that didn't have universal healthcare coverage, and now we've gotten to almost universal healthcare coverage, which was a big deal, I think, for America. Hopefully it'll bring down healthcare costs and it will make sure everybody's covered. I think that was great. It hasn't gone into effect yet, though. So for a lot of people, you know, he's passed this legislation, but they haven't experienced any of the benefits of it yet because a lot of it doesn't go into effect until next year or the year after. Another thing is the stimulus. They put, you know, $800 billion into the economy to help create jobs and save jobs. But at the same time, states were losing money, all these other things were happening, and it helped, save some jobs. But there's still a lot of people unemployed, so a lot of people are still frustrated. A lot of people are wondering, why didn't it work? I think it worked, but it just didn't work big enough. And then, other things that they've done I think will prove to be important in the future, like education reform. Our public school system has been in a dismal state for a long time, and they made some major reforms this year that I think are going to have some really great long-term benefits. But again, a lot of these things aren't felt right away. They'll be felt in the future. And in the meantime, people are out of work, people are suffering, struggling, and they blame it on him.